Microorganisms are everywhere. When there is a favorable condition, microorganisms will multiply into a large number and produce toxins. Once we eat these foods, we will have symptoms of food poisoning like diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting. Hello boys and girls! How are you feeling today? I hope you're feeling fine. I'm teacher Elaine and thank you for watching iTTV. Ew! Where does the smell comes from? I smell something really smelly. It must be some rotten food. Ew! What is this rotten bread doing here? Can you see all the mold patches? Ew! I'm gonna bring this away because it stinks. Okay, boys and girls, that smells really bad. Okay, we are going to talk about food spoilage today. Do you know what's the meaning of spoilage? Do you know what actually causes food spoilage? We are going to discuss about it now. Welcome back, children. Okay, food spoilage. What causes food spoilage? What is food spoilage? Okay, food spoilage is when food becomes rotten or turns bad. But what causes it? Let's see. Food turns bad when microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi growing on it. Children, can you differentiate bacteria and fungi? Well, you have learned it in Standard 5. I'm going to elaborate further and show you how fungi and bacteria looks like on the board. Let's see. Okay, usually fungi will look like this. Well, of course you cannot see fungi with your naked eye, but you can see fungi with the aid of microscope. So this is fungi. Usually like the rotten bread we saw just now, it is what color? Black, and you see patches of black and red and yellow spots, right? So where? This is the one that you saw just now. This is the sporangium and it contains spores. Fungi produces spores which makes it look colorful. Okay, you cannot see fungi with your naked eye, but you can see the spore color. So if you want to observe fungi, you have to see it under the microscope. Okay, so how does bacteria look like? Well, bacteria actually comes in many different sizes and shapes, such as the rod shape, or it can be round in shape, or they can even exist in a bunch of coccus shape or a string. There are also bacteria which appears like a comma shape and spiral in shape. These are bacteria and this is example of fungi. Let's see how fungi and bacteria causes some food not fit to eat. Okay? Well, food turns bad when microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi grow on it. Then these food will become not fit to eat. Can you see in the picture that they are all rotten food? And try to observe the texture of the picture, of the rotten food in the picture. Okay? The microorganisms which causes food to become spoiled or rotten. They produce toxic waste products that make food poisonous, children. Eating spoiled food will make us ill. We call it food poisoning. Boys and girls, have you experienced food poisoning before? Do you know what are the symptoms and effects of food poisoning? Well, if you have symptoms like fever, vomiting and nausea, and you go to the toilet very often, such as diarrhea, well, those are symptoms of food poisoning. Food poisoning may be lethal. You may die from food poisoning. So what actually causes food poisoning? It is the microorganisms which grows on the food. Well, we cannot see microorganisms, right? But we can taste when food spoils, right? And we can observe the texture of food when food spoils. Okay, these microorganisms, when ingested into your body or your intestines, they will produce toxins or their waste products, and these toxins or poisonous substances will harm you and make us sick. Now we shall go ahead and see the different characteristics of spoiled foods. This is a picture of a spoiled or rotten orange. Boys and girls, take a close look at how a rotten orange looks like. You have to recognize what is the difference between a fresh orange and a rotten orange. What do you see in the picture? Well, this does not look like a fresh orange, right? Well, you see patches of greens and white. What are they? They are actually fungi. Fungi that grows on this orange and spoils it. Well, this food is not fit to eat. Can you see the green and white patches? They are the spores of fungi. Spores of fungi make fungi look colorful. The orange peel appears to be moldy and there is a color change. When we say moldy, it actually means the growth of fungi, okay? Let's see, what is the mold which is responsible for the spoiling of fruits? This green mold, the fungi known as Penicillium digitatum, grows on orange and causes it to be rotten. That picture is an image of how a fungi looks like under a microscope. This is different from the picture I show you on the blackboard, right? How fungi looks like? Well, this is because fungi, they also exist in different forms. The way their spores are arranged are also different. Take a close look again at how this green mold, the penicillium, look like under a microscope. Okay? Now children, if you have a bag of oranges and you have kept them for too long a period and they become spoiled. They become spoiled by what? Yes, by fungi growing on it. So the texture of the rotten orange will become moldy, and also it will have a change in color due to the fungal spores, right? Okay, if you have this bag of orange, if only one orange is spoiled, it is advisable to throw the others away. Why? This is because the spores, they will fly and they will contaminate all over the other orange. So when you eat them, you may get food poisoning. Now we'll take a look at how rotten potatoes look like. What are the characteristics of rotten potatoes? It will definitely smell bad and it will also have a change in color. Can you see from the picture that the rotten potato have black patches on it? And what about the texture? Have you seen a rotten potato before? Have you tried touching it? Well, it will become soft. It will have a change in texture. The potatoes will become softer in texture. I'm going to show you who is in charge of the spoilage of potatoes. It is the fungi named Fusarium. This is the image of Fusarium species under microscope. It is a type of fungi. Children, have you tasted spoiled milk before? How does a spoiled milk taste like? Of course, I'm sure you can tell me this, right? When you expose a glass of milk on the table for, let's say, one day, overnight, okay? So what do you observe on that spoiled milk? You can see that it will be cloudy. You can see bubbles forming on top of the layer of the spoiled milk, right? When you taste it, how does it taste like? It tastes really sour. Well, you can see curds, patches of curds forming on top of the surface of the spoiled milk too. Children, it is not advisable to drink. In fact, you do not drink spoiled milk. It will make you have food poisoning. Let's see what are the textures of spoiled milk. The characteristics of spoiled milk. It tastes sour. It has an unpleasant smell and it has a changed texture. You can see the formation of milk curds on the surface layer of the milk. Well, children, what is in charge of the spoilage of milk? Is it fungi or is it bacteria? Let's see. Well, this bacteria, termed Bacillus cereus, is the bacteria associated with spoiled milk. It appears in rod shape. This image, we definitely could not see bacteria with our naked eye. We have to use a microscope. Well, if you want to see the bacteria, you can actually take a drop of spoiled milk and put it on the slide and look at it under microscope. Then you can see the image I've shown you, the Bacillus cereus, which appears in rod shape. Boys and girls, when you have a carton of milk, and if it's open and if you have put it inside the fridge, after some time, maybe a week or so, it will turn sour. If you taste it to be sour, it is advisable for you to throw the whole carton away. Do not consume spoiled milk, boys and girls. Okay, we'll move on to the next fruit. What is it? The rotten tomato. The characteristics of rotten tomato: it has a changed texture. It turns softer. It becomes moldy. Can you see in the picture the texture of the tomato? It is moldy, right, with patches of white and green on it. And it also changes colors because of the fungal spores. Try and observe the difference between these tomatoes and the previous one. Can you see that the color is different? The black spots that you find on your tomatoes are not birds, children. They are fungal spores. The previous rotten tomato, it is green in color, whereas this one, it is black spots, right? They are the black mold caused by the fungus Alternaria alternate. Do not consume rotten fruits, children. Okay, what about seafood? How does rotten seafood smells like? Have you smelled rotten seafood before? Okay, we'll have an example here. The spoiled fish. This is an image of a rotten fish. A rotten fish usually gives out really pungent smell. There is also a change in texture. A fresh fish will usually have a springy or firm texture, whereas a rotten fish will no longer be firm when pressed with a finger. Boys and girls, this teaches you how to choose a fresh fish in the market. Just touch it. If it is springy and it does not smell bad, well, you can say that that fish is fresh. Whereas if you touch the fish and if it is soft, you can say it is not that fresh anymore. Now you understand why you can see some aunties and uncles in the market pressing on the fish, right? Okay, so who causes the spoilage of fish? It can be bacteria. This bacteria, called the Aeromonas hydrophila, is the bacteria that causes this fish to turn rotten. Take a close look at how the bacteria look like. Now, boys and girls, did you hear the recent news about this gas emitted or given out by this rotten fish has killed 5 people? 5 fishermen? Well, this gas emitted by the bacteria from the rotten fish, they are actually poisonous. Can you think of the effect if you eat this rotten fish? So do not consume them. Spoiled food has one or more of the following characteristics. It has unpleasant smell, unpleasant taste, changed color, changed texture, and it also appears to be moldy. Children, in order to grow and multiply, microorganisms that cause food spoilage needs air, water, nutrient, suitable temperature, and suitable acidity. Boys and girls, with these characteristics, you know what are the basic needs of microorganisms. Microorganisms can only grow in suitable temperature. Think about boiling your water. Why do we boil water? When you boil your water, you increase the temperature to 100 degrees Celsius, right? And this is not the suitable temperature for the growth of microorganisms. When the boiling point reaches, the microorganisms get killed. Microorganisms normally grow best in warm, damp, and dark surroundings. Now, you understand why some food they keep it dry, such as salted fish. They dry it under the sun to remove the water because microorganisms they like to live in damp or wet or moist surrounding, but not dry surrounding. Now, boys and girls, let's do an experiment together. This is an experiment for you to do at home, and I hope you can take up your science journal and write the methods down. Prepare 2 breads and label them bread A and bread B. Keep bread A into a separate plastic bag and tie it up. Ensure that bread A was kept dry. Now, in bread B, you should sprinkle some water on it. And after sprinkle a few drops of water on it, you can insert them into the plastic bag, seal it up, and keep it in a dark surrounding, maybe in your storeroom or cabinet, but not your clothes cabinet or with some other foods, okay? After 1 week or so, try to observe which bread becomes moldy first, okay? Which bread gets moldy faster? Is it bread A or bread B? Write your observation down in your science journal and fill in the blanks below. By day what? Bread B is found to be moldy, while bread A becomes moldy only by day what? And from this, you can make a conclusion on the condition that microorganisms like to grow on. Bread mold grows faster in damp or dry surroundings. Well, have you copied it down? You will have to underline or circle the right answer. Well, if bread A, the bread which was kept dry, becomes moldy faster, then it would be bread mold grows faster in dry surrounding. Well, if bread B becomes moldy faster, then it would be bread mold grows faster in damp surroundings. So you have to answer the right answer. Okay, this is how your bread will look like when it becomes moldy. You will observe green patches or even black spots on your moldy bread. Well, boys and girls, the right conclusion is actually bread mold grows faster in damp condition. So you will observe that bread mold will grow faster on the wet bread, bread B. Okay, it's time for some exercise now. We'll see how you do in these exercises. Which conditions are conducive for the growth of fungi on bread? Is it 1. Warm, cool, dark, or damp? The question requires you to answer what are the conditions that microorganisms favor to grow. What condition? Is it A, 1 and 3 only, warm and dark, or B, 1 and 4, C, 2 and 3, or D, 1, 3 and 4 only? What conditions, children, do you remember? Well, fungi likes to grow in warm, damp, and dark condition, okay? You have to write that down. Warm, damp, and dark condition. So the answer is obvious. It is D, 1, 3, and 4 only. Now, we'll move on to question number 2. The diagram shows microorganisms of a certain type. Try and have a close look on this microorganism. What is it? Okay, it is obvious. It is the fungi, red mold with black patches on it. The question asks, which of the following food can go bad because of the microorganism? Is it A, milk, vinegar, sugar, or bread? Milk is spoiled by bacteria, the Bacillus cereus, do you remember? So, this one is, it spoils the bread. The answer is D. Question number 3. Eating spoiled food will cause A. Food tasting, B. Food sick, C. Food poisoning, or D. Food pollution. The answer is C. Food poisoning. What are the effects of food poisoning, children? You remember, you'll get diarrhea, vomiting, and nausea. Now, how did you score in the exercise section? Now we'll move on to vocabulary of the day. The first word is damp. Lembab. Dry means kering. Food poisoning. Keracunan makanan. Unpleasant. Tidak menyenangkan. Boys and girls, did you jot the meaning of those words down? I hope you did. Okay, I'm gonna introduce to you that actually not all fungi and bacteria are bad. Okay, some microorganisms are good. They are actually utilized in humans' life for the benefits of humans. Can you tell me some examples of microorganisms which are used for humans' benefit? Okay, do you know what is tempeh? And how is tempeh made? We'll see. Do you know that although microorganisms can cause food spoilage, microorganisms are also used for the production of food? Tempeh, the common food among Malays, is made from the action of the fungi called the Rhizopus oligosporus. This is the picture of the fungi Rhizopus oligosporus, which is used to make tempeh. Okay? For those who do not know what tempeh is, tempeh looks like this. And this is the product of cooked tempeh. Now, boys and girls, you have to recognize that not all microorganisms are bad. Some are good, okay? Well, if you have food and it is exposed for a long period, your food will turn bad because microorganisms, they are everywhere. When the conditions are suitable, they will land on your food and multiply into large numbers. When the number of microorganisms are huge enough, then they will produce toxin, and when ingested, you will get food poisoning. Well, so children, you will have to remember to always wash your hands before every single meal. I hope you had a fun lesson with me, and thank you for watching iTTV. Bye-bye!